Okay, it is 3:34. We'll call this meeting to order. Can we do the roll call?
Yes. Mayor Velasquez, Casey Powers.
Yep.
Dan Baldwin,
Here.
Dana Clary, Mayor Donahue, Donna Smith.
Here.
Elsa Jimenez, Enrique Rola.
I'm the proxy for Elsa.
Oh, there you go. Hi, Philip.
Hi.
Mayor Oglesby.
Here.
Supervisor Kosmicki.
Here.
Mia Casey. Mayor LaBar.
Present.
Phyllis Katz.
Here.
Eva Geronimo. Roxanne Wilson.
Present.
Heaven. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Yeah, Tim
Sorry,
Heaven is
Tim.
here.
Wes White
Present.
and Zulika Boykin. All right. That's everyone who's here as members.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Well, now, is there any additions or modifications to the agenda, Katrina?
I do not have any.
All right, we'll move on to public comments. Is there any member of the public who speak on any item not on the agenda? I am not seeing any. Oh, there we go. Wes, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Wes White, member of the lead. Not speaking on behalf of anybody, but just want to bring attention to the way Salinas is still operating their evictions. They post a notice, and then they give a 5-day window, and after that week, they give another notice and another 5-day window. So there's really no notice other than you're constantly on notice, and at any time, at any point, we can come and get you, which is not very well. We do have an encampment resolution policy and an encampment resolution set with the coalition and the county. This needs to be across the board with every jurisdiction to where we're actually communicating with people and realizing if they have nowhere to go, we can't just drive them out. Folks need an address. They're leaseless, not homeless. It's all because they're not alive on paper. And we need to look at how much we're misappropriating funds toward dumpster service, the police, the parks, public works, and the administration that allows all this to perpetuate, and what the motivation is. If it's for public service, then these are our residents, and whether or not they can afford rent should not be why they should be robbed from every day of the week.
Thank you, Wes. Is there any other member of the public speak on any item not on the agenda? I see no more hands raised. With that, we'll close public comment. We'll move to item 4, the minutes for June 2026. Do any of the members have any questions or comments? Any member of the public want to speak on the minutes? I see no hands raised. I'll bring this back to the group for action.
I'll move to approve the minutes. Oh, are we on agenda?
No, we're on that. So we have a first. Okay. Do we have a second?
Oglesby second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Against? Thank you, everyone. That passes. We'll move on to item 5, funding. So 5A is the HUD COC NOFO update, and 5B is the HHAP updates. I will hand this off to Katrina.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mayor LaBar. It has been quite a whirlwind with the HUD NOFO since 2025. And I just first and foremost want to thank all of our participating agencies that has bared with us through this process, and to our ranking team who went through 26 applications and really had to make hard decisions to come up with a priority listing, all for it to be withdrawn. So I'm going to pass it on to Nicole to kind of tell you guys where we're at and what has been going on. We sent a memo out last week or the week before. It's all a blur at this moment. And if you guys have any questions, we can go into that. So, Nicole?
Hi, everyone. I'll just give an update on kind of where we got in the competition, just so everybody is aware, and then sort of the crazy updates that came almost immediately after and where we are now. So within the local competition, we were able to have our rankers meet and rank projects. We had a preliminary priority listing that was approved by our rankers, and we had projects entering their information into eSnaps. Just as folks were finishing up, and the coalition was about to start its technical review of applications, we got word that the court case from the National Alliance and many others against HUD regarding this NOFO finally had like a quick decision made by the judge, and so she vacated this NOFO because it did not follow Administrative Procedure Act regulations, in that having such a large set aside of over $1 billion really changed the nature of the NOFO. And if they were going to do that, they needed to go through the proper channels to send it for public comment and feedback. This is something that she had also mentioned in the FY 2025 NOFO, and so when she got this case again, she sort of reiterated that they need to be following these rules, and even within the McKinney-Vento Act, it does say something this big of an incentive of $1 billion needed to go through a public comment period. So for that reason, she vacated the NOFO. HUD then requested that she rescind her vacated ruling, and she very quickly said no. At this point, HUD has officially appealed, so we are just waiting for that court's first sort of any sort of notification regarding that appeal and where it's at. We only know that they have appealed officially, and we are hoping to be able to hear something back by early next week, but we're not necessarily expecting anything, because we do expect that it could be drawn out. HUD had requested that it kind of move quickly, because they stated that they would need to have applications in by August 31st in order to meet the award deadline set by Congress of December 1st. So all that to say, right now our local competition is paused, and it will remain paused until we receive more word from the appeals court. HUD has not sent any other update other than yes, the NOFO has officially been vacated. So we are going to pause our work and just keep an eye on what's going on. We thought about providing a bunch of different scenarios, but there are so many scenarios, and it is so unknown that we didn't think that would be very beneficial to just speculate on what could happen. But the coalition is just ready. Our staff, and we have focus strategies still with us as well, sort of keeping an eye on, as soon as anything drops on that court listener, that we are all over it, and trying to analyze it and trying to see what that means for our community. So again, like Katrina said, thank you to everybody. Thank you to the organizations. We know it was a quick timeline and a quick turnaround to even get applications in and then get them in eSnaps. So we understand any frustration anybody may be feeling, but we really, really appreciate how quickly our community was ready to respond. So thank you for that, and thank you to the ranking panel who had to make very hard decisions. So we appreciate everything that you all have done to help us move forward. And then I think we'll open up for any questions anybody has.
Thank you, Nicole. Questions?
I just have a comment, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I don't think that we can really stress how difficult this has been, not just for the community, but also for the coalition. This, as soon as HUD releases a new NOFO, that would be 4 that they've had to do in 1 year. And usually this is supposed to be on a biennial, every other year basis. And it's a gigantic process. So I just want to just extend my gratitude to the coalition. This is unprecedented times that we're trying to navigate, and it creates a lot of uncertainty for our service providers as well. The last round of funding, the funds came out really late. And then HUD was encouraging agencies to spend really fast, but that's not the way that goes. So, and then you could easily get penalized for not spending all of the money that you received very late. You know, it's a terrible, terrible situation. So I, again, just want to thank everybody for all of the work that they put into this.
Thank you, Roxanne. Any other questions or comments from anyone else? I'm sure everyone's frustrated like we all are. Okay, I had mentioned earlier, and I'll make this very brief. So the Secretary of HUD also released a playbook regarding homelessness. I would encourage everyone to look into it. Basically had 7 concepts. And when you see those concepts, we're doing a lot of that work. But some of the language we'll start tailoring our applications to, or just for a consideration. With that, we'll move on to 5B.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I saw Rox went off mute.
Oh, no, I just don't remember if that's me or not.
Okay. No. Oh, we'll do HHAP and then I'll pass it to you, Rox. The HHAP 7 NOFA has dropped, and I'm only saying it that way because HHAP 7 is being treated as 3rd and 4th disbursements of HHAP 6. So we will not have to go through another application process, but there are certain thresholds we will need to meet as a community, as a COC, and then as the counties separately. There are some extra, well, not extra, but they are pushing very hard on housing element compliance for counties in order to receive their initial disbursement of HHAP 7, which is a big push for both of our counties, as well as having an encampment policy approved and sort of, I don't know, necessarily needs to be implemented, but an approved encampment policy. So there's extra that our counties are having to go through in order to get their next disbursement of HHAP 7. This round of HHAP will also have unspent funds from rounds 1, 2, and 3. So they put out a preliminary allocation that currently has recaptured HHAP 1 funds. So for our COC, it is $4.1 million. In round 6, we had 3.7. And then for the county of Monterey, for this new round, it's 3.1 million. For San Benito County, it's 786,000. So they are expecting that that these allocations can increase because there are some regions that did not meet the full expenditure deadline for rounds 2 and 3. That is not us, everybody. We got there. So we are all good there. We will be working with the state to make sure that we are eligible for that first round of HHAP. There is no deadline per se to get in any of the information that they're requesting for this initial disbursement. They only have a 50% expenditure deadline of 2032. So we have some time to be able to get our ducks in a row and get this initial disbursement into the community. And then the final expenditure deadline of 2033. So we've got some time to be able to work on that. But that is good news that it's about $4.1 million for our COC. And that's just starting right now. It could get bigger. And that's it for HAP 7.
For clarification, so the numbers for those different HAP cycles, that 4.1 for HAP 1, that is what the state collected, and that would be our share that would come back to us?
I'm not sure how much they recaptured in HAP 1. It's been rolled into the $900 million that was allocated for HAP 7. So it bumped our allocation up to 4.1 million. And it could get larger, yeah.
Well, that is a result of everyone on this call making sure that we don't have unspent funds. And I want to thank Supervisor Alejo. I know he was a huge proponent of making sure we track these dollars. So great job. Let me go to questions or comments.
I will add that the County of Monterey, as our Housing and Community Development Department, is moving to the board in the upcoming months to have our final approval for our housing element. So we are anticipating to finally close the door on that issue because it's been holding us up from being able to apply for some funding sources outside of HAP as well. So this has been very stressful. Shout out to Craig Spencer and his team at the County of Monterey to finally get that crazy process completed.
Roxanne, do our individual cities' housing elements play a role? Or they're specifically asking for the county's housing element?
The counties.
Okay.
Yes, and we are really behind in both counties. So it's challenging. We're both very rural counties. So when they're saying you have to find places to build that's close to resources, that's close to all these things, it becomes more and more challenging. So I'm very happy that our county has made substantial progress on that. And we are expecting an increase as well, as Nicole had noted, that we're in the process of planning out.
Excellent. Other members, questions, comments?
I just had a question. When you look at the 3.1 plus the 786, that doesn't quite equal the 4.1. What is the difference between the two?
We all get our own allocation, Casey. So
yeah, but if the total for the COC is 4.1,
they get their own allocation on
I
top of
see.
the counties. Yeah.
So it's actually closer to like 8 million coming in.
Woohoo.
Yeah, but
correct?
also there's for Monterey County, yes, but then there's also in our COC allocation a set aside that goes to San Benito County. Or the county, yes, San Benito County.
And that percentage is going to change, right, Katrina, because the new PIT numbers just changed?
Yes, and once we get the final numbers that are approved from San Benito County, we'll bring that information to you all, just as we did for Monterey County, and then we'll announce the percentage changes.
Great. Anyone else? All right. With that, thank you for the presentations. We do not have an item 6 under governance today. We'll move to item 7, system coordination, CARS update with Roxanne.
Here I am again, everyone, always asking you for something. So as many of you guys are very much aware, the county was awarded some funding in encampment resolution funding round 3, and we had worked really hard with the city of Soledad for us to address an encampment that is right at the kind of borders, mostly in unincorporated areas, but a little piece of it landed in city jurisdiction in Caltrans. A part of our model was to build a temporary shelter, and I gotta emphasize that it was always intended to be temporary for the individuals that required longer periods of time for us to house them. And we are now down to the last 16 individuals. And what we are asking for from the Leadership Council is for your consideration in approving that Step Up use their Continuum of Care tenant-based rental assistance funds to house the remaining individuals out of Sendero, the ERF temporary project. We're not asking for a CARS prioritization across the board. Step Up is the service provider for both the TBRA program and also for Sendero. So it makes sense for them to use their resources to help subsidize rents for individuals that are being housed out of Sendero. We are anticipating that we will close this project near the end of this year. And I do have Megan and Beatrice and Rosie here if anybody has any other questions.
Thank you, Roxanne. Anyone have questions, comments?
Phyllis has a question in there. When we first started with the encampment, Phyllis, there was 40 individuals that we were serving. They've all went to many different places. And Rosie's here if you want to give a highlight on some of the places that we have housed people, whether it be temporarily connected to residential treatment or whatever else.
Of course. So right now we've housed a total of 14 clients. 4 of them are actually waiting to be housed at Casa de Esperanza in King City. We've also been able to get 4 clients into residential treatment, and we are currently working with Monterey County Behavioral Health to see which of these clients would be eligible for the transitional rent opportunity. So we have utilized every resource that we have available to be able to get clients to permanent housing. And we're hoping with the assistance of the tenant-based rental assistance, we can extend the amount of time some of our participants will need to become self-sufficient.
So some of those are also short-term housing, right? And then they still will need to transition into a more permanent housing situation?
So 5 clients are moving into Casa de Esperanza, so they're moving into a Section 8 program. So with them, they secured something more permanent. Everyone else is currently the 14 that we have housed are housed through rapid rehousing funding. So there is a push from our case management team to get clients to be the most self-sufficient they can be, but also to find affordable units so that when we do eventually leave, we can, they can provide for themselves. No, Megan has her hand up. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yes, go ahead, Megan.
You're on mute, Megan.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to wait to be recognized. No, I just wanted to say that we put an enormous amount of money into these individuals to get them ready to make the transition. And so if this support is not given to us, I fear we only have funding enough to cover us through December 31st. If they end up back in the street, it's almost like we're starting from scratch. So, a lot of these folks are chronically homeless, and we do have a plan, and we met with them today, actually, and they're concerned and they're motivated. And so, again, we really think that this is an important to allow this prioritization is really important, so we don't waste those dollars, and we can demonstrate that encampment resolution is possible. And the city, in addition to the funding, we have put forward a lot of our own staff, resources for free. We have an amazing police department who has been really cooperative with this community, and timing couldn't be worse, because if we can't get these folks prioritized, we're ending up in an El Nino year where these folks came from the riverbed and they're going to go back to the riverbed, and so that's scary to us. So any assistance on this would be much appreciated.
Thank you, Megan. Let's go to Philip.
Yeah, Rosie, just curious, of the remaining Sendero residents, how many of them are connected already to behavioral health that are Behavioral Health Service Act eligible, meaning that we're working with you and your team on the transitional rent benefit? Are there any remaining Sendero clients?
So we actually met with Judith maybe like an hour ago. So there was 3 clients that would be eligible for transitional rent. 2 of them are actually going into Casa de Esperanza. Perfect. And the other, we have found a unit for, and we're hoping that if this funding becomes available for that client, we could house that client with that funding. But if that's not the case, we would explore transitional rent at that point.
Thanks, Rosie. Appreciate that.
Anyone else?
I just want to emphasize we're not asking for a CES priority for all projects. It's just for step-ups, tenant-based rental assistance program that can pay rent for 1 year for 10 people. That gives us enough wiggle room to try to advocate for the 4 that had gotten declined from Casa de Esperanza and figure out if there's any way we could appeal that. This is, of course, you're dealing with real human beings way beyond just the numbers that we're looking at. But we're this concern of us running out of resources quickly is very prevalent in the conversations that we're having between the partners. So again, just hoping for your consideration on this item.
Okay. I do have a couple questions, especially since Casa was brought up and the step up. So my understanding when we went through this process for doing Casa Esperanza, originally the Home Key project, was that there would be a prioritization over the homeless in King City first, and then additional, whatever is left over, those beds would then be spread out through the valley heading north. Are there anyone, other than disqualifications because of the new rules regarding immigration status, are we making sure we're housing all those individuals that are eligible in King City?
So the referrals are still, King City preference. They still have a King City preference. I think at some point in June we had exhausted the King City preference, so we moved towards the anywhere in Monterey County preference, while we try to find more clients in King City that would be eligible for Casa de Esperanza. Everyone who was eligible to be referred to Casa in King City was referred, and then some of them were denied, which is what opened the referral to other clients who are currently experiencing homelessness.
Okay, and I would assume most of the eligibility issue was because of the new rules regarding federal funding for undocumented?
So that had to do with it, but also I think the last report we ran, there was around 18 clients that were denied due to background checks, so they didn't meet the background check eligibility.
Mayor, I do want to let you know that I have a meeting with the Housing Authority coming up in about a week and a half for us to go through those clients, because some of them it doesn't seem like they should be ineligible even if they have a criminal background. because the Housing Authority has very clear rules about what they consider and what they don't consider is eligible. So even our public defender's office has reached out about a specific client, and if anybody knows about the criminal background of someone, I would assume it's public defenders. So we are going to go advocate to see how come some of these King City residents were denied when we don't see why they should have been.
Okay, I appreciate that, because that is the first I'm hearing of this, and it's extremely frustrating. Originally, obviously, we know what happened with the original developer, but that seems like a different rule in place now. That is a housing authority specific rule, Roxanne?
Yes. They have a system that automatically qualifies people. It does all the background checks and everything, and we just want to double check that the system is not disqualifying people who should have went through.
I think we're going to have to talk offline, because this is extremely frustrating, because that funding that we originally brought through, they should not have these types of strings put on them. And Housing Authority, they should not have this kind of power, right? So I'm just letting the whole group know, we were able to get this project down here with no community backlash or saying no, because they understood we would be housing individuals. I can understand because of the new federal rules. We'll talk offline, Roxanne. This is frustrating.
Sure. Absolutely. I see Jose's on the call too, so we can all convene.
Thank you. Because none of our residents, unless it's the federal change that came in place, should be denied. I see Megan's hand is up again. Megan?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor LaBarre. I was going to say that certainly we in the city of Soledad appreciate and think that those units should be reserved for King City clients. We secondly think that, and these are what our clients are, is South County residents. Some of them actually have relationships in King City, came from King City, came from Greenfield. And so, you know, if you guys would consider this flexibility, and if there is not King City folks that, you know, if there are still openings, we would hope that the next best thing would be some of these folks that do have, I know a couple of them who have relationships, have a reason to be in King City, have family and whatnot. So we hope that you would consider this, and we would be on board with working with you and Roxanne on this issue with the Housing Authority, because this is also affecting us as well.
Jose?
Thanks, Mayor. Rosada, could you confirm how many vacancies there are currently at Casa Esperanza? Because my understanding is there's quite a few, because so few of our residents qualified after the immigration check and the background check.
Give me one quick second.
And I raised that question, Megan, just because I think right now, unfortunately, the problem we didn't think we'd have when this project opened was there's plenty of space, is my understanding. So just because of it's been so difficult to get people in with the background checks.
Yeah, I think our both jurisdictions would be self-interested to push back on that, and that might free up some people for King City, and still there might be room for the folks that we're talking about. I think there's 4 or 5 in Soledad.
So right now, we're working through 6 referrals. So there is 9 people waiting in background, and then the others are waiting for a move-in date.
How many units remain unoccupied at this time?
Sorry, I'm like pulling up the report from yesterday.
Thank you.
So we had 22 units still waiting to be for move-ins, but we only technically need 6 more referrals. So until we hear back for background
And the
checks.
referrals include our clients or not including our clients?
The clients that were referred from Sendero are currently in background or in appeal processes.
So of the list you have, it does include more than just King City people.
Correct.
Okay, and Megan, you're only asking for 6 spots?
Well, we're asking for not just for the housing that we're talking about, but for the continuum care tenant-based rental assistance
Yes.
program prioritization, which would be used for other, including in Soledad. But I think there's 6 people in background from what?
So in Sendero, only 5 clients were referred by the system, and then 4 we actually completed the whole eligibility process. Only 2 have been approved from Sendero.
Let me go to Donna.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Mayor LaBarre was talking about those 2 families. So we cannot put families in here at all. Is that correct?
There are family units in Casa de Esperanza. Or are you talking about Soledad?
No, I'm talking about King City.
I was surprised, but she did build family units.
I have 2 families right now that have been living back in the river or unhoused. They're related. One's got 1 daughter. It's just a father and his daughter, and the other one is a single mom with 2 kids. And we've been working with them for a long time, and they do need a place to live. Same ones that we talked about, Roxanne.
I thought they were undocumented, Donna.
They are. Never mind.
Sorry.
One suggestion I would make is maybe there could be some conversation with Eden Housing, because I do think maybe it's Camfora, but they have some ability in 1 or 2 of their projects for undocumented folks. I could follow up with Eden if that would be helpful to the group.
It would be, because these 2 that we're working with have been unhoused for like 5 years now. And so any help, that would be great.
Okay, I'll follow
Thank
up.
you.
So any other questions or comments? I want to just make one more comment. So I think it'd be very, very important when it comes to the units at Casa de Esperanza is to identify, like you mentioned, there's X amount of units left. How many have already been denied because of background only from King City? How many from Soledad? Because I will tell you, we need to speak with Housing Authority immediately, because this was never conveyed to us that this was going to be an issue. These dollars, they should not be directed this way. I also don't have an issue with the request from Soledad and Roxanne. That's fine, but I don't know how you want to do this, Roxanne, but this needs to be figured out. And what authority does the county have? Because this is just unacceptable.
Yeah.
I want to look at the contract that we have made with them, and this is unacceptable.
I agree that it is shocking how many people have been turned away from Casa de Esperanza, which is why I asked Rosie to provide a list of all of the clients across the board, King City, Fairview, and from Sendero, who have been denied so that I can go one by one with the housing authority and talk to them about, explain to me why this person was denied. Because we all have collectively put a ton of money into all of these projects. And it was under the vision that everybody would be served. So this is, unfortunately, this is early. It's hard to get Zulika, I think, as we all know, she's very busy, but we do have it confirmed for us to meet the last week of August to go through that list of clients.
Okay, I don't care how busy she is. She is our contractor. She does not run the program. Housing Authority does not run this program. They are a contractor, and they're supposed to be fulfilling our needs. I'm sorry, everyone, but this really pisses me off. I cannot believe I'm hearing this. So thank you, Roxanne. Please include us into that meeting. I really, and we'll go through the contracts, because I don't know how they legally can do this through these dollars that were allocated for this specific situation. I mean, if someone's getting ineligible because of a drug charge or a criminal drug charge, I mean, I won't go on.
A lot of people.
I'm not good.
I think, again, this is all just starting to bubble up. I started to see a trend, which is why we reached out and asked them to meet with us to discuss.
Okay. Yeah, please include me. So we do have a request from Roxanne looking for Step Up's Continuum of Care tenant-based rental assistant program through December 31st. I would imagine we need this in a motion, Katrina?
Yes.
Okay. Let me go to the public first. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak on this item? I see that no one's hands raised. I'm assuming, Donna, that's still from the last time? Okay. I'll bring this back to the group, looking for action.
August B. move approval.
I'll second it.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 I
Aye.
Against? It passes. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your work on this and the time for the discussion. We'll now move on to item A, and B, planning for the summit planning and HR1. Who's taking this? Is that you, Katrina?
Yeah, I'll take the summit planning. Just want to thank our planning folks for meeting with us and really getting things rolling. You all should be receiving save the dates shortly, as well, along with some sponsorship packets that you could either help sponsor through your own organizations or share with others that you might think can help support. We are working through we've built out our agenda. Now we are working on solidifying and confirming presenters and panelists for the next year's summit. So the date again is April 30th, right? That's correct, April 30th. And we're really excited for it. Donna is putting together a needs assessment that will go out to case managers so that we can tailor some specific case management service provider trainings for them in 2 sessions. We're also looking at another set of trainings for that will come with certifications as well. So thank you guys for your feedback in the previous meeting. Roxanne has been working really hard to try to make this come to fruition, and we're really excited for it. Does anybody have any questions about the summit? We're still going to use the same location that we've used in prior years. It's been really difficult to find a location that is sufficient for the amount of people and the types of workshops and learning sessions that we've tried to provide. So until we find another venue, this is where it's going to be.
Enrique?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment. Last year, I remember before the last summit, there was some discussion about should there be a fee for attending the summit. And at that point, there was no really action to do that. It was more like a comment, and the idea is to make it for free to allow as many to attend the summit. I've attended pretty much all summits, and I know I get the letters as well for sponsorship, and we haven't sponsored here within HHAP or the county for a number of reasons. So I'm thinking maybe if not for today's discussion, maybe even for the next one, since we have a little bit of time, maybe there could be some discussion and consideration of charging something, even if it's minimal. I think that'll alleviate staff to seek funding and the pressure of funding this event. I think by charging some type of small fee, it's really not going to hinder the budgets, but it'll, with the funds that for the fee will definitely provide some relief and not having to fundraise the entire amount. Anyways, those are just some comments that I wanted to make. If not for today's discussion, for the next meeting.
Thank you, Enrique.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Enrique. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago we did have this discussion, and the Leadership Council did approve for us to implement a small fee. So we'll be charging like $30 a ticket. I think that's what we came up with. But I'll have to double check my notes and see. But yes, thank you for advocating. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And that should cover the costs of like food and drinks and kind of breakfast items and lunch items, which are a big expense. So with that covered, that should take a chunk out of the cost of this event.
And Katrina, just for a reminder, when we had that discussion, part of the reasoning was people were signing up when it was free and then not showing up. So there was people that weren't able to even come because they thought it was sold out. So
Yes.
this should help rectify it as well.
Yes. On top of us then planning for so much food, there was a lot of, I don't want to say waste, because we were able to make sure that food went to a good place, but we just had excess of a lot of things. So yes, we're hoping that this also helps with attendance and not just signing up and registering, taking a space, and then not showing.
Yep. Megan?
Is it possible to reach out to the higher institutions of learning like Hartnell or MPCC or CSUMB, because maybe they have spaces that they could support?
Yes, but we just don't want to go too far into the peninsula because it is a continuum of care. We want to make sure that our San Benito partners are able to, don't have to travel as far. It's already a far drive.
But maybe Hartnell, and maybe there's an option with Hartnell.
Okay. I think, Donna, we did try one time, or we did try with them last round, but it's like the timing, school's in session. But yeah, we'll continue to look into those. Thank you, Megan.
They give us free space all the time.
Sorry, I meant to mute me, Megan, not you. I'm so sorry.
I was just going to say they give us very discounted or free use of their spaces a lot. And the central campus is pretty extensive. They have the auditorium, which they wouldn't have, performances at that time. So anyhow.
Mayor Donahue, it sounds like we need a conference center in Salinas.
We do. The question I have, though, is when is the MCOE conference facility scheduled to be open?
You are correct. I was going to say that. So MCOE right now is in the process of building a conference center that will fit 500. And so it's going to be very extensive. And so it should be ready in 2 years.
Oh, is it 2? Okay, I thought maybe next. Okay.
2 years now.
What's the expected attendance? Because I remember when it was at 1 Main Street. I mean, we've run into similar challenges trying to do any, because the Salinas room will only do 200, and unless you do audio, visual, and feed in, you really can only play with about up to 400 at 1 Main Street, but you've got to segregate rooms and stuff. That you know, the rodeo grounds and the underground, depending upon the seating arrangements, you know, we were able to, because we've done international events, and you get about 350 there, but that's as big as it gets here.
All right, any other questions or comments? Any member of the public will want to speak on that? I see no members of the public raising their hand. Katrina, did you already do the HR1 portion?
No, and I could punt that over to Nicole. Thank you. So as everybody is probably already aware, I think we've talked about it at this council a few times, the changes with HR1 and the benefits eligibility and the new work requirements and other things. I've been working, the coalition and Roxanne's office have been working together to try and engage CCAH to be able to create some sort of data sharing in order to make it easier to know exactly who experiencing homelessness is going to be up for eligibility each month or whatever it may be, so that the coalition can then share HMIS data. It'll be easier to find folks. We can then see if any of those folks are already within one of our homelessness programs and being served by any one of our partners. And then we can provide them a list of those individuals and say, these are the folks that you're already working with that are up for eligibility this month. Please make sure that you contact them or are working with them to renew that eligibility so that their Medi-Cal and their benefits don't fall through. We had an initial conversation with them, and it sounded promising, but if anybody is also able to kind of encourage CCAH to work with us in this capacity, because it would really significantly impact the folks that we serve, and being able to actually target them in a meaningful way instead of just very broadly throwing it out. DSS is already has a scheduled sort of series of education on how to help folks with their enrollment and their renewals and their work requirements. And that's starting next week. We sent that out to the provider network. So we will send it out again after this meeting, and then please share it with any of the organizations that you're working with, because it'll be a pivotal part of helping to make that happen. Yeah, we're excited, and we're really hoping that this can work out, because we know it can make a huge difference. Roxanne, did you want to add anything else?
I think this is one of those things that I have been obsessing about in the middle of the night. We all know that people who are experiencing homelessness are going to be disproportionately impacted by a lot of these changes that we're seeing from the Big Beautiful Bill. And this is just yet another thing that we have to build up some systems to help catch as many folks as possible. So the proposal that we had given to the Chief Information Officer, the Alliance is pretty straightforward. Merge 2 databases into one and spit out a bunch of HMIS numbers and which agency is serving these organizations and which dates they need to be renewed. They said technically it's really easy to do this. the hard part is navigating, of course, the HIPAA stuff and making sure that the wrong data does not get shared with organizations or accidentally get exposed. So he told us that he was going to look, his name is Cecil, and he said he was going to talk to his executives and his compliance teams, and we haven't heard back from him since, but I do know the coalition has touched base, reached out to circle back with him. That's kind of like a big one, and on top of that, there's work requirements, and if you can't work, then you have to volunteer, and I'm just really trying to encourage any organizations, nonprofits that are serving individuals to create some sort of volunteer program that can help people get those hours, because we all know that it's nearly impossible. I mean, the job market is crap as it is right now. But it's nearly impossible to get someone who has been pretty unstable for quite some time connected to a job when they're really focused on their immediate needs right now. So, Megan, I don't know if you were going to respond to something I was saying or if it's for the general group.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, just as an FYI, we're in the process of working with Catholic Charities to hold this. I mean, this is a little bit of a different population, more about the undocumented population, but to understand HR 1 and Medicare and what the changes are. So we're going to be doing a series of workshops. We're just, so they are a possible resource. And then we are working with Step Up on the work requirements. So we do, one thing that maybe is a good thing to push or something to for our TAE folks is we have a partnership with the Monterey County Conservation Corps, and if they're between 18 to 24, that might be an option for them to sign up for. So just throwing that also out there, we could probably get more information if anyone is serving those clienteles, or maybe they've already referred them to that agency, but maybe we could even have them come and have a pop-up or something if there's a group of the TAE group that we could show as an option.
Would that just be for Soledad residents, or is that to all Monterey County?
It's for all Monterey County.
That also reminds me of the Green Cadre program that the Workforce Development Board is currently recruiting for. It's for 18 to 24-year-olds as well. They'll get paid $20 an hour learning how to do forestry work. They're actually going to help PERFMA, Pajaro Regional Flood Management Agency, to do some of the tree removals and things of that sort that's happening for the levee expansion project. If I can, Chair, have another just really quick update that I think everyone of this body would be interested in.
Of course.
It is, as with every single year, I just want to let you guys know that there will be movement on clearing out the Pajaro levee again. And we are trying to coordinate doing an event, like a tabling for nonprofits to come and try to engage with individuals and see if they're interested in services. So we're looking at possibly sometime, I believe in September, to do the tabling event. If anyone is interested, I do hope that we can connect. Maybe I'll put together a sign-up sheet or something so that we can track which agencies are willing to go up there. It would be a one-day, probably 4-hour event trying to get people connected. And I am also trying to get Santa Cruz County partners to come as well, because many of the people, actually the vast majority of the people on the levee have ties to the city of Watsonville. So I know that we have a lot of organizations on our side that can only serve Monterey County residents, but there might be a few out there who can prove that they were from our side.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Roxanne, I can
Roxanne.
just share that has been historically our problem when we have joined that event is most people are like, oh yeah, we're not going to engage in Monterey County services. So any amount of cooperation from Santa Cruz County would be super helpful.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Roxanne, for the update. Any questions from any other members? Any comments? Is there any member of the public that could speak on this item? Yes, Wes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious about how many people are on the levee at this point, or how many you expect that might be there when it's time to do the cleanup.
I think I don't have the. I don't know if any of my staff is on here, but we did do an informal count recently, and for the first time in history, there's less on Monterey County side than there is in Santa Cruz County side. But the city of Watsonville just passed an ordinance that made camping illegal on their side, in these zones, they're calling them, and the Pajaro levee and their jurisdiction is a part of one of those zones. So we anticipate that there will be a lot of movement and people push back into Monterey County. So this is really challenging, just in case anybody cares to know. It's a very challenging situation we're dealing with up there. But I would say, Wes, that we're probably, if not have already, we're probably at around 100 individuals on both sides, all three jurisdictions.
Just as a follow-up, do you know how many people are in the Hope Village from there, and have any of those folks got housing, if you know?
Yeah, so Hope Village has housed people. I think we're at 4 or 5 right now since we started this ERF thing. We've gotten we're at 9, I believe, not counting those who are in the pipeline right now. To get housed, and Hope Village usually rides between 29 and 34 individuals as people move in and out. We have not had issues with people not necessarily wanting to go there. Actually, we're finding that people are very interested in non-congregate units. But it's just not enough. You know, it's just we need more.
All right. Anyone else with any questions or comments? I'll ask the public one more time. Any members of the public speak on this item? Seeing none raising their hands, we'll close that. Item number 9, we do not have anything today for HMIS, which means we'll adjourn at 4:36 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the conversation and all the work that you're doing. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you so much.